And good morning, good evening, good night, good afternoon, wherever you are in podcast land. Brendan Cunningham, the real estate doctor, giving you the real story because we don't make up stories here. We tell you what you need to know, not what you want to hear. Matt Paul, he's going to talk about all the things that you've been wanting to ask about. And we have somebody else dropped in out of the sky. We're very happy, very honored to have this gentleman here, James Gardner, who happens to be, several weeks ago, we would have called him the long shot candidate. He is the Republican candidate for mayor of the city of Buffalo. And if you're not a local, you wouldn't necessarily know this, but we've had the same team in there for 61 years. Mm-hmm. And as Tammany Hall used to like to say, we don't really care who you vote for as long as we get to pick the candidates. They didn't pick this guy. So it might be time to see an upset, but you know what? I don't know that it's going to be that big an upset based on one of the observations I heard you make recently on another show. Could you elaborate?
Sure.
You know what I'm talking about?
Okay. Yeah, sure. So this mayoral election and early voting, the mayor's actual election day is November 4th, and early voting will start October 25th. But this is what we call sort of an off-year, off-cycle election. So, you know, when it's a presidential election or even the gubernatorial election in everywhere around the country, but particularly here in Erie County and in Buffalo, those elections generate a tremendous amount of turnout. You're talking about 60, 70% turnout often in those types of elections. The mayor's election this year is what we call an off year. And you're going to, and you may notice if you live in the city of Buffalo, and everyone sort of remarks about
as we all do.
Right. And people say, oh, it's kind of sleepy. And mayor elections are always kind of that way because people just aren't as engaged with it. You don't see it on national news. You don't see celebrities commenting on it
unless it's New York City.
New York City, and then obviously it becomes it takes on a life of its own.
And that's yikes,
right
now.
But so this is going to be a very low turnout affair, and everybody always says that Buffalo's an old-fashioned, liberal blue city. Mm-hmm. And if you look at it on paper, it is. It's a 7-1 enrollment advantage to Democrats. But two things. First is if you talk to most Democrats who live in the city of Buffalo, they are what we'd call a conservative or moderate Democrat. These are your old Jimmy Griffin Democrats, the people who, whether they live in South Buffalo or North Buffalo or the West Side, these are people who are, and even the East Side, these are people who, grew up with the old, Bill Clinton type of Democrat, what we'd call blue dog Democrat. That's not where the Democratic Party is in New York State any longer. It's certainly not the party of the person that I'm running against in Sean Ryan. So there's been this sort of phenomena where the local Democratic and the state Democratic Party has sort of moved to the left, and all of these voters have stayed where they are. And they want a common sense solution. They see the value in police officers and in firemen, and they want some level of accountability in government, and those are messages that I speak to and that are resonating within that community. And then the other big part of this is a lot of people are just registered Democrats because they like being able to vote in primaries.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah, yep. And frankly, if the Republican Party in my lifetime has not done a very good job of fielding candidates in the city of Buffalo. There are a lot of reasons for why that is, and there are reasons now why that no longer makes sense. Because in the old days, the suburbs were sort of Republican country. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. The city was where the Democratic votes are. If you look at Amherst now, I would argue that
they're having a shift.
I would say that the town of Amherst is probably more Democratic. The Democrats that live in Amherst are probably more liberal than the Democrats that live in the city of Buffalo. So there has been a decided, sort of geographic shift in how Erie County works. So this election, because it's so low turnout, it's there. It is there for us to get our message out, to really bring, because you're not talking about having to move, 50,000 voters. Mm-hmm. You're talking about 15,000. You're talking about 18,000. The win number in this race, it could be less than, if total turnout is around 40,000 people. You're talking about with 3 people in the race. You're talking about maybe a win number of 18,000 votes. Wow. That isn't a tremendously large group of people that you have to convince. and the ramifications. What was it? Tip O'Neill had an expression: "All politics is local."
Yep.
It's local government that touches us most in our lives, and if we are able to get our message out and to make sure that people turn out to vote, we can fundamentally change the trajectory of the city and get it on a pathway where we're growing again, and we're no longer sort of circling the drain, which is where we've been for ebbs and flows. But right now, I would say we're decidedly stuck in neutral.
Boy, we are so stuck in neutral.
Yeah,
And
100%.
you know what? I like everything about this town, and as I said recently on one of the other shows, except the politics.
Yep.
I mean, you can't have the same guys in for 61 years. You get tired blood.
We had a lot of progress. I grew up here too, and I remember as a kid, your parents were like, "Go away,
get out of here,
get out of here."
You were a failure.
Yep.
You were a failure if you stayed in Buffalo. That's the way it was when I was a kid. And now it's like, and you have people today who want to stay here, who want to stay in the city. They believe in the city, and they're getting no help.
Yeah.
And we're, my whole mantra is they've had 60 years. We went from being one of the richest cities in America with twice the population, and today we're one of the poorest. We've lost half.
We're
of our
broken.
population.
We're so broken. And all the other candidates that we've spoken to, they talk about, well, we're gonna focus on real estate, which is one of the reasons why you're here, right? Yep. And we look at how they've handled their real estate investing, and we say, no, we don't want you doing it. Stay away. I mean, example, the Perry project.
Right.
Is my number right that it's costing $600,000 a unit?
That's correct.
Okay, let's think about that. I'm just going to take a leap of faith here. We do all right. We're not mega rich, but we're certainly considered affluent. Yeah. I don't think any of us live in $600,000 houses.
Absolutely not.
And we don't live in $600,000 rentals.
No.
Right. I mean, and if you look at the Marine Drive developments,
stop, you're killing me.
Marine Drive developments, that's going to be $1.1 million a unit.
Jeez.
And this is where
what is wrong with this picture?
This is what it is. This is how New York State, when they're the developer, when they're pushing these projects, that's what they'll do. They'll just open the checkbook, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what it costs because it's not their money. And it doesn't really matter how many people it serves. All that matters to them is the photo op at the beginning and the photo op at the end.
I hate that.
And that's it.
And the price of the project.
Right? I mean, even then, they just, don't worry about it. Because you're not going to feel it. It's state money. It's not coming out of your pocket.
Right.
Well, it is coming out of your pocket.
Directly out.
That's exactly. So that's how New York State, and that's sort of, I think, why there's a level of frustration among the local developers community, because they're looking, think of what has happened in our lives in the past 5 years. Look at the costs of everything going up. And these developers, whether it's Doug Jamal or Nick Sinatra or a lot of these other big guys who have come in and they're taking on incredibly challenging projects, right? And none of these guys are giving me a nickel, by the way. I'm just looking at it from how this looks. They've taken on incredibly challenging projects, and they're looking to the financial landscape has completely changed for them, and they're going back to the state and saying, "Look, we need a little bit more money."
The cost of goods are going up month over month.
And what is the state saying to them? Oh, you don't know how to manage your business. You've overextended yourself.
Yes.
When then you look at what New York State does, and it's just, oh, you need another 10 million? You need another 100 million? Here you go, here you go, here you go.
Yep.
And you judge for yourself what is a more impactful development project where you're creating rentals where, the people who live there aren't gaining any equity. They're not getting lifted out of a generational cycle of poverty. Or people who are developing market rate homes where people are going to walk in and they're going to own it, and they're going to build equity, and they're going to be responsible neighbors in the city of Buffalo. Those two. I mean, one has an unlimited checkbook. One has an unlimited checkbook. The other one is getting snubbed by all these politicians who are only too happy to cozy up when it's time for the photo op.
Yep.
Okay, a lot of the candidates are saying, well, we need to build, we're going to build. And then we have this Kathy Hochul fiasco bill that kicks in first of the year with the electrification.
I know.
What are we going to do with that?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, the more you understand what is it, the CLC, CPA, the climate leadership, whatever it is, this alphabet soup of legislation, it is government at its worst, because what it's doing is it's saying, here's where it's legislating to an outcome. Mm-hmm. It's in no way indicative of where the market is or where the need is. It's saying, here's where politicians want us to go, and this is the vehicle that's going to get us there. The more you look at it, it's completely unsustainable. We don't have the transmission capacity to start electrifying the homes and the school buses and the businesses and all of it. We don't have the physical infrastructure to do it.
The grid is not.
And all they're doing is saying, well, by 2030, this is what it's going to be. Well,
how? Yeah,
it can't.
Yeah.
By magic, you rub a lamp.
Cannot be done.
Yep.
And and what's so amazing to me is that that they're so hard and we'll see whether they're as hard and fast on this on the January effective date of this. Basically, you're going to have to absorb the cost if you're building a home.
Yeah.
You're going to have to absorb the cost of getting your natural gas hookup, which is going to just explode. I mean, land is already very expensive to build a new home. Anyone who's building a new home knows that.
Yeah.
This is a deal killer.
Well, you'll see builders drop off to almost nothing.
Yeah.
Yep.
And if you break the top of the market, it affects every other level. The move up buyers get all screwed up. It's like the one thing in the economy you don't want to ever mess with is real estate, because too many things come off of it. If I'm not selling houses, then the guy that would have bought that house is not buying a washing machine.
Yeah.
And he's not doing the landscape.
Yep.
That guy's it's the spider effect is insane.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, and it makes zero sense. I've heard so many people on a national level, local level that are in the electric companies that say we're already having issues with what we have right now. And I live in North Buffalo, and 2 years ago after the Italian Fest, we lost power for like a week almost.
Yeah.
I mean, just that Italian Fest blew our grid, and they did a half-ass patch to it, and then it did it again, and then it was down for literally 4 days.
The whole thing about common sense, politics is so out the window. And the question that I would ask that I can't get an answer: who wants this?
Yeah. I don't know anybody.
Who
People
wants
in Brooklyn?
Okay, fine. It has nothing to do with us.
It has nothing to do. That's it. No, this is
Downstate,
about Brooklyn.
Downstate,
I don't even know. It's probably not even Harlem or the Bronx. It's Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Brooklyn wants this, and we're all going to have to suffer as a result of it. It's a total joke. And I mean, the hypocrisy of it is in the middle of all of this. We have access to some of it, and this is going way outside the Mayoral. I mean, like, we're sitting on one of the great reserves of natural gas.
Yeah.
One of the great reserves of it. And you know who's making money hand over fist? Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Pennsylvania's killing it.
Yeah.
They got gas too.
You go over that border. It's the same shale. It's the same
rock formation.
The whole thing. And they're down there pumping out natural gas, and that's why when you drive into Pennsylvania, it's like, it's booming.
Yeah,
it's like the land of Oz.
Yeah, it's like these little towns that did, they were little, they were nothing, and now they're boom towns in Pennsylvania, and it's because they understand managing their own resources. Where in New York State, to cater to Brooklyn, we're not going to get involved in it at all.
And as a native New Yorker, I just say to them, "You're welcome."
Yeah.
That's right. Because we're helping you. We're not helping ourselves.
Yeah.
It's just stupid.
It makes no sense.
But I'm happy that you're stepping up, and I'm happy you got a shot.
Yeah,
you got a shot. And you know what? This can change things through generations.
Yeah.
And this is the New York City thing. That could be an upset.
Yeah.
Curtis is stepping up.
Good.
What we're seeing is a there's sort of a real moment here in the city of Buffalo, because obviously we have tremendous challenges that we're facing.
Yeah.
I mean, from the budget alone is a disaster.
Yeah.
I mean, and I don't know that it is fully getting the attention that it needs to.
No,
because it's just sort of like, oh, there's a budget problem. No, we're headed toward bankruptcy. I mean, we don't really know, as we sit here today, we don't actually know how big the deficit's going to be for next year.
Wow.
Okay, because we don't have the audited numbers from last year. So it's only, I mean, it could be anywhere between 30 million to 90 million.
Jeez, that's a big swing.
And
That's a
it
big
just
spread.
and
Huge.
you have no idea because we don't know what our costs were last year. We don't know what actually got spent. And as you look forward, you know, it's who's going to lead us out of this?
Yeah.
Is it the same? Really the
same
people
team.
who got us
The
into
same
it?
team.
Yeah.
Like that's, I mean, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing year after year and expecting the same result.
Yeah.
These are not the people who are gonna get us out of it. What they will do is they'll make sure, because they're already talking about it. Oh well, you know, we're gonna have to raise taxes.
Mhm.
You know,
Yep.
and there goes the last comparative advantage the city of Buffalo
Yeah,
has.
because the low
Right?
taxes. Yeah.
Because that's, I mean, it's still a relatively, if you look at the tax situation, it's still a relatively affordable place to live.
And from an investor standpoint, if you're looking to buy multiple family houses,
Yep.
Buffalo is really the city.
It is,
to
but
buy
it's
in,
gone up.
because-
And
Yeah.
But they're
I've
gonna
owned
take-
for
they're gonna
5
take-
years.
they're
It's
gonna
gone
take
up
that
2
benefit
times
away.
since I've owned in the last 5
Your
years.
taxes have gone up. How are your services doing?
Yo, way worse.
Yeah,
way
I mean,
worse.
it's a joke.
Way worse.
It's
Are
a
the
joke.
roads?
The
I
service
mean,
is-
I have a truck and I almost have lost my front end in potholes just driving to and from the office.
And you know, the thing that is so frustrating about it is, first of all, the reason you want to know the honest reason why our roads in the city of Buffalo don't look like the ones in Amherst or in Hamburg
I love
is
it.
because the city of Buffalo has 100, let me get this right. It has 16,000 lane miles to plow when it snows. So when it snows, the city's responsible for 16,000 lane miles.
Wow.
Okay. In order to plow those lane miles, we have 25 snow plows. Okay.
Sounds like not enough.
The town of West Seneca has 240 lane miles to plow. They have 16.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
Different
for
ratio.
the extra 1,300 lane miles, we have 9 extra trucks.
Yeah, the numbers aren't
And
working.
are they all working?
And do they all work?
Yep.
Because I guarantee you they don't.
I know a mechanic for the city that says half of
No,
them
absolutely.
are out most of the time.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
now they have the speed humps,
Oh,
which totally screws them up. I know.
Even if they,
I have a speed hump on my
Yeah.
street.
Yeah.
It's like,
even if you didn't have that problem, you're talking about huge pieces of equipment moving huge amounts of weight. They break every time.
Yeah.
And the thing is, and this is the most frustrating part about it, is if you talk to the people who work in the Broadway barns, they'll tell you, we've been saying the same thing for years.
Mhm.
Pay our mechanics more. How are we competing with Northtown and West Herr? Because their starting salaries are higher than ours, and they don't care. Mechanics don't care about that 42%
No.
benefit package.
Yeah, yeah.
They want where's the money?
Yep.
And so you're already taking. We don't have enough snowplows to begin with, and then they break and they're out because you don't have enough mechanics to fix them.
Yep.
And that's why every time you grew up here like I did. City of Buffalo never used to close for
No.
5 inches of snow.
oh, God.
Near to
Our
near
school
to
didn't
school.
close.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like,
Yeah.
oh, we're getting snow. And you're like, yay. Mom
Yeah.
was like, you're
Going to
yeah,
school.
you're going. I'm like,
Yep.
what?
It's not going to be a snow
Yeah,
day.
I mean, and what's happened since then? It isn't just. I mean, what's happened is no one has been actually interested in doing the job of mayor. No one's actually been interested in making sure that city departments work. And the result of that, but what they have done is they've made sure that City Hall has grown.
Yeah.
They've
Oh.
made
Spent
sure
a lot of
expenses-
money.
You talk about a cottage industry.
I mean, the City Hall has become an employment program, not a service delivery program, and that is fundamentally what we need to change.
Yeah, that's wrong. Yep.
Yeah.
No.
And the thing that really annoys me most about the government politics here is just the arrogance factor. Byron, I thought he was a decent mayor. I thought he kept things on simmer as best he could, but you didn't have any choice there. But the fact that he felt so comfortable in his position, he could just sort of mail it in. He didn't even bother to run for the primary.
Mhm.
And what happened?
Yeah.
They get some person that is not electable,
Mhm.
and the guy can win on a write-in vote.
Look,
That's not a thing.
No.
I can't tell you how the number of people who have come up to me who said that they're going to vote for me and they support me and who supported India Walton is shocking.
Wow.
And I'll tell you the reason why.
Sure, one
It's
different.
because they are out there and they want something else.
Yeah.
They want somebody who was in
She
their
would have been
community.
something else. for
Yeah,
sure.
exactly.
Yeah.
But
you know
they
what?
saw her.
I get it.
They
I
saw
get it.
her. They saw her she went to the events, went to the block
Yep.
to the block clubs, spent the time and made the effort to get to know voters, and that is politics 101.
Yep.
And that is why I don't make any bones about it. That is exactly what I've done. I've stolen a page
Yeah.
right out of her book, where
Yeah.
you've got to go to where the voters are. The issues, whether it's potholes or garbage collection, these aren't Republican or Democratic issues.
No.
These are just people want. This is how
I want a nice, safe place to
This
live.
is how cities should work.
Yeah.
And if you're going down there and you give them the time of day, if you make an effort to understand what their problems are, and you know enough to know what some of the solutions might be to those problems, they're going to vote for you. That's how democracy works.
Yep.
And I couldn't be any happier at how Sean Ryan has run this race, which is
He upsets you.
right. He's doing the ostrich thing,
Yeah,
which
right.
is, and this is sort of the voters understand that arrogance.
Yeah.
They understand
like
that
it.
people aren't if you're not willing to come to my door and listen to what my problems are, and I know my problems better than you as somebody who wants to be mayor, then why would I bother making an effort to vote for you?
Yeah.
Yep.
Not a good
And
thing.
that's what restores gives me hope is that when you make the effort, if you go to voters where they are and you hear what they're saying and you understand the issues that they're facing, they're going to reward you with their vote, and that's the way it should be.
Well,
I
I think
agree.
you have a good shot here.
Yep.
I hope you win. And parting shots. What's the number one thing that you need to address on day one?
Oh, it's the budget. We need to right size City Hall, and the way that we're going to do it is we're going to start in the mayor's office first. We're going to start in patronage jobs, which have exploded.
Exploded.
So the last 2 fiscal years we have numbers for, expenses have grown 30%, even though I knew this fiscal cliff was coming.
Jeez.
We know that personnel costs have risen 16%, even though they know this fiscal cliff was coming. I'm going to lead by example. We're going to trim $2 million out of the mayor's office, which is easy. I don't need police protection. I don't need an officer sitting outside my house every night.
But the rest of the city.
Right? Yeah, exactly. And that's where that
Don't
police
be
officer,
cutting our funding.
that's where the police officer should
Should be.
be.
Mhm.
It should be making sure that the community is safe, making sure that we have the police on the ground in neighborhoods and in commercial.
The beat cop. Bring back the beat cop.
Absolutely. But that's
You didn't have crime when you had the beat cop.
that's the first thing is we're going to have to get our fiscal house in order. We have to show New York State and the federal government that we're serious about managing our affairs, with an eye for fiscal responsibility, because we're going to need their help to get out of here, out of this fiscal mess that we're in.
Yeah.
And the last thing we need to be doing as a city is jacking up everybody's taxes.
Agreed.
Just because we can. Just because we can.
Or because there's some novel. Everybody says, well, Buffalo's taxes are a lot lower than everyone else's. What they don't follow up with, and so are our wages.
Yeah.
It's one thing when you can say that our taxes are low and people are killing it in their income. That's not where Buffalo is, right? We've been a slow, steady, incremental rise. And when you start jacking up taxes 8% a year, doesn't work.
No,
doesn't work.
You're hurting
Yeah,
people.
you're gonna have a problem. All right, so that's what we have.
Yeah, thank you. Please like, follow, subscribe. Thank you for tuning in, and let us know if there's anything we can address in the show.
And I want to personally thank James
You got it.
Gardner for coming on our show. He's the next mayor right here.
Yeah,
There
thank
it
you,
is.
James. Appreciate your time.
Thank
Nice having
you.
you
It's
on.
gonna happen. It's gonna happen. And this is history in the making.
Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you.